So this particular clip is going to be a little scattered. We're going to talk about that word cap. We're going to go back to that diction of Aries and the significance of the two goats. But first I want to make a couple side notes here of some terms that are put into public consciousness with kind of a twisted intention. The word choice is very telling what story we're accepting collectively. And this is a pattern I've been seeing over the years, and now that I put it in your mind, maybe you'll be able to see when these patterns are coming up the next time. So, Deirdre is a philosopher. He has a term that he coined called phallogocentric. Phallogocentric, that's the phallus, the logos, and it is the center of consciousness. And you will see, the tower card, like we were talking about, that's the letter P. We oftentimes, our terminology that the public accepts will be phallogocentric. Anybody from the MGTOW movement, men going their own way, MGTOW would accuse the collective consciousness of being gynocentric. That everything revolves around the female genitalia. Freud would agree with both of them. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But there are just some patterns that I've seen. These terms that I'm about to list are the origins of some of the most horrific events in human history. And they are immortalized in our dialogue. And we perpetuate them by talking about these events and handing it down to the children, and children will talk about them. And in the context of phallogocentric thinking or gynocentric terminology, these words, which may be complete fictions or not as sincere or genuine as we are led to believe. Wormholes. Think about it. Think about all the twisted jokes that I'm listing here. SpaceX. We have no way to prove that these things exist. We just accept them into our underworld, into our tree of knowledge. They are fruits on our tree of knowledge, and we expose ourselves when we accept them as fact and lend belief to these terms. So these are talking about private parts. The private parts. This is shame magic, mentalism. Real quick, when I say magic, I know a lot of people jump right off the wagon when I say magic. I mean mentalism. Magic is manipulation of natural elements to manifest one's will. And natural elements can just be mentalism, psychology, people's tendencies of thought. So I know that term magic turns a lot of people off, but you could use the word psychology. You could use the word psyop. You can use a lot of words interchangeably here. I use this because of the word abracadabra. It means with my words I create. And that's some serious mojo magic. You better believe it. So, her rose shima. Nagas aki. That's, Nagas is the snake, is the serpent. Aki, in some context that's on the ground. Ki, in some context it's in the sky. Culturally, different cultures kind of put different twists to ki. But regardless, that's the serpent. And a couple days later was her rose shima. The grassy knoll. Big, hardcore psyop, multi-generational. People were shut up from even addressing it. And it all originated from the grassy knoll. I think you guys know what I'm getting at. Ground zero. It's ground in. The wet market. That's the public. We're talking about the public purview. I'll close that off. There are other terms that they use. All of them are shame, psychologically shaming. Carbon footprint. There's a lot of shame involved there. But footprint, that goes back to that birth certificate, to the pretend, to the tenderfoot, to being sold in advance. You're being sold a bag of goods. Carbon footprint. There's a lot of presumptions come with that single phrase, and shame gives it more weight than it may deserve. The word submit, when you fill out a form, you submit the form. In the movie Ad Astra, Brad Pitt's final line, his career-ending line, the last thing he says on the big silver screen, the final word at the end of the movies, before the credits roll, he says, submit. And then he takes a bow out of Hollywood forever. So moving into the next category, I could draw a line here. We're going to talk about the word Capricorn, the first fruits of labor, the sacrificial, the goat that is sent into the wilderness. Cabra is a word for goat. Capricorn. In Black's Law, the word captive is the wild one. Let's see. Captive, a person who is unlawfully seized and held by another, a prisoner of war, an animal, especially a wild one, that is caught and kept confined. So that goat is killed. That goat is designed, contrived for a sacrificial purpose. So the word cap is a very dangerous word. Kaepernick, he took a knee and he got strung up. People put their negativity into him. That's part of the Yom Kippur ritual. Up here, capital. Black's Law Dictionary defines capital as of or relating to economic or financial capital. The capital market. Capital market. And punishable by execution, involving the death penalty, a capital offense, punished by execution. So this word cap will generally indicate that a sacrifice is in play. I highly recommend you avoid using this series of letters in any naming of your children. It's probably not very good luck, considering the abracadabra with our words we create. So the all caps name is... it is a surrogate, a straw man. It is, like Burning Man. It is a sacrifice contrived for usury. The Capitol riots, the Capitol insurrection. Insurrection was kaput. It was a sacrifice. A lot of those people are still paying a hard price. First responders. We're talking about the first fruits of labor, the one who is sent out. First responders were sent into 9/11, and they paid a heavy price. Cops. Cops are used for a purpose. They do the dirty work. They are the business end of legislation. CPS. We even call our children kids. We're talking about the firstborn. It's probably not the kind of language you want to use when describing those who you love. Public enemy number one, and I'm not talking about the rap group, that is a title that we put on offenders. It is number one. It's the first. Al Capone. Capone. First. El Chapo. The drug kingpin. The drug lord. Isaac Cappy. We know what happened to him. Tupac, reversed. Cap, put. We talked about that already. Chad, Aaron, Bozeman, C-A-B. Cabra, goat. Kobe Bryant. Cabra. Goat. I'm not going to say one way or the other if these are real events. I'm not going to say all of them or one way or the other. I will say that there is an intention to manipulate the natural elements to manifest someone's will. It ain't mine. Right on, folks. Here's a term I was going to include, but I'll leave it for you guys to look it up. Look this up. Look this word up. And think about everything I've said. I think you'll get the message. Much love and strength, y'all.